What is up? What is up? How is everyone today? Hello, everyone. Davin Wickstrom here again with Vivro and Foodservice Unfiltered. What a beautiful day. Before I get started, many of you have known I've been battling some health stuff. I wanted to share for many of you already know. Had cancer this summer and met with the oncologist yesterday and I'm in remission. So that is absolutely a great day. I'm super pumped about that and definitely enjoy a stay. Wanted to thank Vivro first, friends and family and support throughout. It's a huge day. So as I mentioned, Food Service Unfiltered. This is a podcast that we have to look behind the veil, if you will, of people's why, their stories, etc. And I'm super excited for the guest we have today. His name is Seth Winder with Clark National Accounts. Seth is one of those guys that I met, oh gosh, a couple years ago, and one of those people that that when I met him, I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, he's my people. I want him to be my friend. The guy has great energy, positivity, his humanness, and it was immediate. And I knew way back then I wanted to interview this guy. While I'm talking, I'm going to keep talking to him. I'm going to just invite him to the stage. The dude he loves a good beer. He loves a good dad joke, as he's mentioned to me. And I'm super thrilled to not even share his story, but you guys to get a glimpse into Seth and the magic that is the man of Seth Winder. Seth, how are you, brother?
Doing so good. And, to hear just that little opening of, you're in remission,
Yeah,
I'm so lucky to be able to be here in this space with you and just
man.
live in that, celebrate that. It puts so much of life into perspective that if I was afraid of this conversation, I'm not anymore because we are gifted with this time together. So, David, thank you so much for having me, man.
Oh, you bet, Seth. And you're right. It certainly puts things in perspective for sure. And each moment is a blessing. So why not just go all in, say yes, eat your cake first, and just get after it and live life for sure.
Yes. Love that mentality. And yeah, I'm excited to chat about any and everything. It's funny because when I was thinking about this conversation, I woke up early. I've been waking up at like 5 o'clock to get my exercise in, um, trying to be healthy, at least before the holidays. But I woke up a little bit early today and I was like, man, like 4 o'clock, like, what is going on? And I think it was more
Yeah.
just true adrenaline. I'm just excited to talk to you. And I was racking my brain a little bit. I was like, what are we even going to talk about? I like to be prepared as much as fly by the seat of my pants that I
Yeah.
typically am. I was like, man, what am I going to say? What can I do here? But then I thought about even the title of this. It's unfiltered. You don't
Yeah.
want a welcome to Vivro podcast filtered. That's not what we're getting after here. We want to just have a real conversation, and whatever you got for me, I'm ready to dig into it.
I love it, Seth. And you reminded me, one of my mentors in the industry, Lenny, said, I can go on your website. I can see what you sell. That's what you sell. Like that's easy. I'm more interested in who you are, what motivates you, what excites you. You name it. So yeah, you're a perfect person to welcome back into the
Thank you.
fray.
Thank
So
you.
so let's start there with the easy stuff, Seth. Talk to me, Clark National Accounts. What's your role?
Mm,
What do you do for a living right now?
mm. Well, I am a continuous development specialist, which is part of the employee optimization team. So when you think about uh, training and development here with Clark National Accounts, we have employee optimization. So our focus is kind of twofold. We have the onboarding side of things for new hires and getting them ramped up, contributing to the team and your traditional onboarding. But then on the other side, the other bucket is continuous development. So how do we continue to support and equip the team with resources, development opportunities
Yeah.
in their respective areas? So my focus is more on the sales side of things, supporting our sales team, growing them professionally, developing new strategies, um, trying to equip them with whatever they need to be successful in their role. So not your typical training and development, but really want to be like specific as we're optimizing our team. We want them to be performing at their best, uh, and giving them the skills and strategies to do that.
I love that. And you're the coolest title ever. I think that's like such a cool title. While we're there, I already know this answer, but I'd love you to share it. What were you doing before that, as far as it relates to education?
Yeah, uh, I have to kind of drop it back. What has it been almost 4 years now? I've been out about 3.5 years, but for 8 years, right out of college, I was in public education. I taught second grade for 8 great years, um, and made wonderful connections with family, built bridges with students to their education, uh, parents to education, and just like getting them to buy in and really care about their child's education. That was my first 8 years out of my career. But it's interesting because when I graduated from college, I went for a degree in early childhood education. I got my master's in early childhood literacy, so K-2 literacy skills strategy, data analysis, planning for instructional design. But it was in 2023, one of my former coworkers, actually, weird story. The guy who I got hired to replace went on to a neighboring school district to become a principal. And I inherited his classroom. He was running an elementary school. But then after like 3 or so years, he ended up jumping to, actually, no, I apologize. It was 8 years. He jumped over to Clark Associates, which is the parent company of Clark National Accounts. And I was like, what did they do to take a well-renowned teacher and principal from public education? Like, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
But what's more is that they also ended up taking my former principal at Smoketown Elementary. Randy was his name. He was then hired as the charitable foundation president. So here we have two amazing principals that are moving into Clark Associates. I'm like, what is going on over there? And what I found, he helped me bridge and kind of see like, our skills as educators are transferable. And I think that's true of any career, really. It doesn't have to be education to, supply chain, education to whatever. We are more than one trick ponies. I
Yeah.
mean, interpersonal skills, data analysis, instructional design, um, all those things can be applied just in different fields. It's on us as professionals to learn how to make that transition and how does that actually look in a different world. So I'm happy to say I've been here with Clark Associates. Started as a training and development employee. Oh my gosh, employee development specialist. Lots of title changes, and I was doing a lot of DISC trainings
Yep.
as a personality assessment, and then emotional intelligence training. So those are two key identifiers of employees that work here at Clark Associates. And I'm so grateful that if I turn to my left and turn to my right, like I'm going to find somebody that cares about how I communicate, tailors that communication, is able to read a room and manage relationships well, so we can navigate like those problems together.
You know, there's something there in Lancaster. I'm telling you, and about the Clark families. Having worked with your company and your people for years, you're right. It's the culture is prevalent. You see it all the time, and you're no exception.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes. So Seth, if you're open, I'd love to go
Yeah.
into the Wayback Machine for us. And I got to read my notes so I'm asking the right questions here. So I know your story. We see and hear where you are today. Let's go, as I said, in the Wayback Time Machine. Um, Talk to me about your origin story. You're Filipino, and I'll just leave it there. And we both know the story. If you could just start with origin and just begin to talk. And
Yeah. So it I get a little sentimental about this just because like I am such a product of all these little moments in my life. And I think every single person is too, whether they want to pause to recognize each one as special or if they want to just keep looking forward. But I truly chalk it up to all these little moments. So uh, I was born in the Philippines in 91. And it's really funny. My mom texted me the other day, I think it was only 2 days ago, and said, Happy Arrival Day. So, I guess it
Mhm.
was November 19th. Uh, she'll correct me later on. Was the day that I actually came over. I was in an orphanage in the Philippines, and they went through the adoption process in Pennsylvania here, and I was able to fly across the Pacific in like a stranger's arms, and literally they handed me off to really hopeful, loving parents, um, and that I'm not the first of my family that was adopted. So I have
Mhm.
an older brother who my parents adopted uh, in the 80s. His name is Brent. He's from the Philippines. And then I have a sister from South Korea who they adopted later in the 80s. And then they adopted me from the Philippines in 91. And then lo and behold, I end up getting a little brother. We say he's the homemade one, but it's like all the stress is like off of parents who are adopting,
Yeah.
and now they have their own like flesh and blood. So my family was complete in 96. I have Brent, Lacey, myself, and Bryce. So I have a beautiful blended international family. So grew up in central Pennsylvania, um, in a town where I graduated with 68 people. And when I say that, oftentimes people are like, "Was that a private school?" No, it's like there's like there's AAA, double A schools. We were like lowercase a. We were that small, so we'd have
B
to travel
minus.
B minus. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not even in the A classification.
Right.
Um, so real small town. Um, you had to cover a lot of square mileage to be able to even like field a baseball team. And so grew up there. Like I wouldn't say I was like redneck. That wasn't an identity that I ever took on. Um, I wouldn't say that like I was any other thing. I was just kind of that in between. Uh, because I think growing up brown in a small like central farming community was interesting. And it really, I think, shaped the way that I view people and the way I think my small town viewed me. Um, so grateful to like be raised in a small town. There's a lot of love in the community of Montgomery. But then as I grew up, I didn't know anything about my biological history.
Uh-huh.
My uh, my parents chose to kind of keep that back from me until I was old enough to really process it. I
Sure.
mean, like, and every adoptive parent is going to go at it a little differently. Um, but I mean, knowing me growing up, as angsty as I was, as it was probably good that they kept it from me.
Mhm.
Uh, but then when I turned 18, um, that's when they gave me the paperwork from the social worker, and it had things that I never knew before. It literally had my birth mom's name. It had where she lived. It had her backstory, and it's all in these like 5 typewriter sort of pages that you can tell like if you had to backspace, it wasn't just a clean backspace. There's like it's like it was overwriting a word. It was the 90s. So uh, I had that information at my fingertips for the first time ever. And I remember going into the bathroom and I was like staring into the mirror, like, wow, this is the closest I think I've ever been to my Filipino identity. Because I grew up very much American. And
Yep.
to look in the mirror and say, all right, whose nose do I have? Do I have my dad's eyes? Do I have my mom's chin? Like all these things I think people take for granted uh, and don't ever think about because they're faced with that every single day. But my reality as an adoptee is when I look up, I don't see anybody that looks like me. I feel love, and that's all I need.
Yep.
But I wasn't able to make that physical connection. Um, yeah, sorry.
No,
Were
no,
you
no, you're great, Seth. Like this is amazing. Like it struck me when you mentioned being knowing where you grew up, as you said, a brown kid surrounded by people that didn't look like you. And when you turn 18 and right, you knew your parents loved you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and somebody who, for myself could look at my biological parents. I have my mother's chin and I have my dad's hair all day, all day.
That's right. Yeah.
Um, but somebody like you, like I don't even know if it's perspective. Like, how do you navigate that? And maybe it's as you're a man, a grown man. How did you navigate that?
You know, the word that always comes to mind for me is identity.
Yeah.
And another piece of this story is like only, gosh, three-ish years ago, I was able to locate my biological family.
Wow.
So even though I had I had the paperwork that said an address, a name, a birth date for my biological mother, you know, the Philippines, Manila in particular, it's like a third world city, right? Everybody has a cell phone, but at their core, it's not as developed as like Chicago. It's not like an American city. Um, so my whole life, I've been searching, for any scrap of information. Like once I had that name, I'm all over it. It's like I'm prospecting, but for my mom.
Yeah.
So I was researching like um, Leah Tuyen, where like in the Philippines at this address. I went as far even as reaching out to like a private investigator, and there's like that came to nothing. So at the time, I had to use the resources at hand. So Facebook, MySpace was still a thing at that time.
Nice.
Google searches, like, can you see my gray hair?
Yeah.
Um, so I I had to use what was at my fingertips, and it was only like 3 years ago when I would search on Facebook my birth mother's name. Same people came up every single time, but this one day there was a new name there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I always do. Uh, Hi, my name is Seth. My birth name was James. Uh, are you my mother, essentially? And this time I was met with huh, I actually did have a child named James. And we, what did you say? Like, where did you say you were born? I was like, well, it says here. And then back and forth we went, and it started to kind of unwrap itself. And what it turns out was I was messaging my biological brother. His name is Christian.
Yeah.
He was messaging on behalf of my mom because she didn't go to school. She left. They say she was like no read, no write. So she didn't finish school. And back and forth we went, and they went as far as sending me their birth certificates to prove like they are who they say they are, and I am who I say I am. And like, I mean, one, you shouldn't be sending those things via social media. Like,
No, no, no,
huge
no.
red flag, huge
Right.
red flag.
Social
So
security number. Here, take it.
yeah, right. It was very like, but that to me was how I legitimized it. Their information was exactly the same as mine. So there was no question in my mind that, in a world of 8 billion people, I found the one human being I was looking for in a third world country,
Wow.
in, in a place I never thought I would. So all that to say, like, identity has been a big thing for me because I I feel as though I've had so many identities. I'm an athlete. I'm a dad. I'm like a brother. I'm a husband. I'm all these different things. And one that I always wrestled with was, am I Filipino? Am I American?
Ah, yeah.
So I'm not. After I my wife and I went over to the Philippines 3 years ago and actually met my birth family for the first time. And that's
Wow.
a whole other piece I can get into. But what that did for me was it secured in my identity that I don't have to be Filipino or American. It's not an or, it's an and. I'm Filipino and I'm American. And it took me 30 odd years to get to that place, but I'm like the most settled. It's something in me that was finally settled, and I'm like okay with that now.
And
So,
Seth, were you not settled prior?
yeah, it was a little bit of, as I said, angsty teen, wanting
Yeah.
to have answers. And that's a reality for so many adoptees, whether they're
Yeah.
domestic or whether they're international. And international tends to be harder, even more so because, you get some birth mothers that give fake addresses. They give false information. And it's not that, like, I don't know what the reason is, but every country they do it just a little bit differently. So again, in the season of gratitude, I'm
No.
thinking about how grateful I am that, you know, I had this opportunity, this life experience, this chance to connect with the person that gave birth to me. Not many internationally adopted kids can say that. So, and I want to be mindful of that too. Like, I don't want to tout that around to other adoptees because they might not get that chance. But I think all I can do is, listen, support, give them space to share about their identity, their challenges as an adoptee. And that's the way I think that's like my next step here. Like, I had this beautiful life experience, want to maintain a relationship with my siblings, with my mom, um, and want to help other adoptees.
Wow, Seth, that is amazing. I'm not saying I'm watching my words. Like, how do you apply? We're going to kind of bounce around. How do you apply that perspective of like searching? Really, what I'm hearing you say is searching for who am I, and finding that, and like, what do you do post after meeting your biological family and siblings? Like, w-
Mm.
then what? Now what? What are you doing with that?
You know, it's as big of a life moment as that was for me. I like to be able to even go to the Philippines. It's so the flight itself is just so expensive to go literally on the other side of the world. They're 13 hours ahead of us right now. So it's tomorrow for them. And I was able to like be there for 5 days with them. Like, I can't speak Tagalog, which to me is a really big miss. And I think that's one of the what's next things. I
Yeah.
want to be able to learn that Filipino language so I can communicate better with them and not just rely on them to tailor to me and speak English. And two of my siblings speak fluent enough English that when I was there, I was like, so like, am I at like risk of like heart disease? Like, do I have any health like risks that I'm unaware of? Um, no, I had no idea, but they were fluent enough to be like, no, like just asthma. And I was like, that tracks as I sat there with my albuterol as a kid.
Well, so
So
it wasn't this grandiose thing. It's like, no, no, bro, you got a little asthma. Yeah, no, that came
yes,
from your Uncle
yeah,
Louis. It
yeah,
wasn't some like
exactly.
earth-shattering stuff. It's like, no, that was passed to
Yeah.
you. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mom.
Yeah,
So that was the part of it. But like again, the what's next is like I still want to keep learning that language. And
yeah,
admittedly, and there's a little bit of guilt around this, like we've become, I think, across the last year and a half, just more like Facebook friends. And you know how like low touch, low interactive that
oh
is.
yeah,
It's like liking, loving posts, sending happy birthday messages. And I think the biggest barrier for me using just self-awareness is I don't know the language. And I want to be able to pour more time into that, but
yep,
it's daunting. It is a daunting task to start from zero. And like when I look at some of the words, I think flower is like bulaklak. And I was like, there's no like in Spanish, there's other or Italian, there's other roots to
right.
cling on
Even
to, but
French, right? Yeah.
even for yeah, like I'm starting at zero here. And I guess that's on me.
And
But
is the
yeah.
guilt? I heard you talk about the guilt. Is the guilt the language, or is there anything beyond that you're feeling?
Frankly, it's just the language. Like I
Yeah.
want to be able to, and part of it too was I'm so grateful for my parents, my adopted parents, because when I told them that I found them, I was like worried that they're like, well, why
Yeah.
aren't you grateful for me? Like that's a real conversation that lots of parents have with adoptive children. But I was so lucky to be able to have both of them say like, God, I'm so happy for you. Like
Yeah.
genuinely like cry and hug me because like they loved me. And that's all I could ask for. And if it would have gone the other direction, that's okay too. We would have grown and navigated that. But I feel so lucky that right up front they were able to just pour love back into me because they
And
knew it was a piece of my identity.
yeah, yeah. And that takes, regardless if you're an adult, that takes a certain amount of maturity or emotional maturity to say, okay, you're their son, period, regardless of where you were born. And to say, okay, like I'm
Mhm.
going to let you go meet your biological parents. Like kudos to
Mhm.
them to create that space for you, Seth.
Yeah,
That's
I've
amazing.
I'm in a lot of ways I surely feel, blessed, lucky, like I won the lottery. And now I'm another part of the what's next is to be able to pour that into my own children.
Yeah.
I got three little brown Filipino American boys
Nice.
looking at me, and I want to be able to share that side of them and expose them to that because it's something that I never got to. And
Uh,
they whether it's learning a little bit of the language, uh, eating some of the cuisine, maybe one day flying over there when they can sit still for 15 hours straight.
yeah.
Uh, but that is not this day.
Well, you talked about fatherhood. I'm going to ask you just a big 30,000-foot question. Like, describe being a father. What is fatherhood for you? That's a big question that I didn't plan you on. I'm just kind of dropping it, but I think I know
That's
you'll
good.
answer it. Yeah,
That's good. Fatherhood is, you know, it is a gift.
yeah,
It's a gift that I don't take for granted. Uh, I know I have family. I've had friends that have been unable to conceive, and adoption has touched many people's
yeah,
lives. My entire family uh, was touched by adoption by some way, shape, or form. Um, but really, the word that just comes to mind is just a true gift, because I want to be able to set a good example for them. Do I get it right? Heck no. If you point me to a perfect parent and like I don't know, I'll give them a high five or something. And I want to I want to show them what I'm truly passionate about. Like I want them to know what my priorities are. My priorities are, taking care of the family. Uh, like I want to be able to connect with people,
yeah.
and I want to be able to like just lead with love. And that is as a teacher, I can't do a lesson and be like, all right, write down 20 sentences on what makes love. It's through exhibited behavior. I need to demonstrate that for them. So, even this morning when they're like yelling at me just because they're grumpy, bite my bite my tongue and be like,
Yeah,
I love you. Get your butt in that car. We gotta
right.
go. um, and yeah, it's truly just a gift. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend this morning, and like when we brought my son home, it was like it's great when you're in the hospital. You're like, oh, this is great. They wrap him up, and nurses are there waiting on you 24/7, and you're like, all right, we're heading home. And I'm like, oh, wait, you can't come home with me and take care of
Yeah,
all that stuff?
right.
No, I gotta do that.
I'll pay you like $10 an hour, maybe.
Right, right. Yeah,
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 it
and
is huge
yeah.
responsibility.
It is, and such a gift, and I mentioned, I know you would agree. Like, there's a certain amount of visceral love that comes with the child that it can't be expressed or communicated. It's just like this visceral heart response to life.
And, and I have three kids. They're 7, 5, and 3 right now, and they're all their own different creature. Like they have some common interests, and I want to be able to like share my love of the Phillies with them, share all my passions with them. But this morning, they all woke up in their three different modes. My one woke up and was like, "Oh, it's too bright." The other one woke up and said, "I get to wear PJs today." And my other one was just completely couldn't be bothered. So they're their own creatures, and I love them all for what they are and who they are. But David, I'm tired. I'm tired.
Dude, at 3, 5, and 7, heck yes, you are. Yeah,
Ooh. Yep, sure am. And I know it's a season. It's a gift, as I said, but yeah, it's a gift I kind of have to suffer through sometimes.
bless you, my brother. And yeah, you're like you said, you're in it. This is your season. I will say it gets quieter, and then everything
Yeah.
eventually will just be, how is school? Good. That's it. And that's all you need.
Yeah. Right. So I am trying to like drink in every little moment because
Right.
everybody says it's you blink and it's gone. And like
Yeah,
it's easy to be like, yeah, sure. Yes, mom, I get it. Days are long, years are short, but it's true.
it
Like
is true.
it's so true.
So do you apply that to get back to the Filipino and meeting your biological
Yeah.
parents? Are there any kind of whether insight or aha that you apply to your children today from that experience? Like, you know, being an angsty 30-year-old and meet my parents,
Yeah.
biological parents and my kids. It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I think the way that I'm translating that into fatherhood and in the way I'm trying to raise my kids is like
Yeah,
you never know anyone's story. And not everybody
yeah,
is ever asked or given a platform to share that story. So we don't want to make assumptions about anyone or pass that judgment. So as in education, well, and I guess like in any other industry, like the 7 habits, like we want to seek first to understand
yeah,
somebody's story, then to be understood. So I really try to like embed that in them. You might be, they sometimes will say, oh, Davin is really bad. Well, no, let's hold on. Let's put a pin in that here. Sorry, corporate dick, put a pin in that.
yeah.
So
All good.
your job is to flag me if I ever say those. Um, it's not that Davin is a bad kid. Like maybe he made a bad choice. Like, but
Yeah,
what led to that choice? Maybe he dropped his lunch. Maybe he stubbed his toe getting out of bed. As tiny and small of a moment as that is, that influences how we show up in any given
yeah,
situation. So we don't want to be passing judgment on somebody. Like, yes, did it irk you? Did it make you mad? Sure, but don't let that one moment be a defining thing for that person or that kid. So that's one of the big things that um, I'm trying to instill into my kids. Like nobody knew what my story was, and I'd hate for somebody to pass judgment on me just by walking by me. I'll tell you, growing up brown in a small white community, the racial slurs are a real thing. And
yeah.
as soon as I stepped out of that I'll say I didn't receive that so much in my hometown, but if I went into a neighboring town, people didn't know me. It was easy for them to pass judgment. But that's why I think I'm so driven to like connect people and like build bridges so they understand one another.
Yeah.
And then
How
the
did you
less that
navigate that as a
uh,
kid, Seth?
I part of it was I had to try to blend in to some degree.
Yeah.
75% of Montgomery's Asian population lived in my household. There was only one other, no, 60%. There was two other kids in my town that were of Asian descent. And, I had to be able to like take it on the chin. Like I'll share my nickname growing up, probably around like when sports started. Um, dumb kids. My nickname was Rice growing up. And
Holy mother.
some of my buddies still know me as Rice. And like I'll see them at weddings, I'll see them at parties, and they'll be like, Rice, what's up? I'm like, I'm not him anymore.
Right. I'm not that
I love
brown kid in a it's
Yeah. But the
yeah.
thing is, like, I still show that. Like on this screen,
Oh,
that is how I present. I show as
yeah.
a Filipino man. And I can't change that. I don't want to change that. That's me. I
Right.
love that. But it's like I can't do I can't change anybody else in their behaviors except I can try to like change the way they view me because I think identity is you can see it from two sides. It's like how do I view myself? What are the things that I value? But then how are other people identifying me? It's that outside perspective of somebody seeing me as a person. So I want
Yeah.
them to be able to like identify me as, use the word friend, use the word smart, joking. I want to say smart A, but like smart butt guy. So I
You can
want
swear
to,
on here. It's fine.
okay, I'm smart ass. I'd love for
Yeah.
people to refer to me as that.
Yeah.
And that's okay because I want to, at the end of the day, whether it's like levity is big for me.
Hmm.
I want to break down those barriers and help people recognize that we have more in common than you think. We just need to get past that face value thing and like, sit down. Let's talk a little bit.
Well, and Seth, it sounds like you've been there since childhood, like, or
Mhm.
maybe later in life. And you're just waiting for other people to kind of catch up. Like,
In some ways, yeah.
right.
I think we've
And if
done,
they don't, they don't. Like, it's not like, all right, next.
and yep, and that's okay because I think there's enough other loving, caring people out there in the
Yeah.
world that I love surrounding myself with. But it is always a good feeling when you can see that, like that light bulb or that switch of, you know, maybe they're trying to figure me out. Like, how do I approach him? Do I, yeah, what angle do I take with this man? And then once we get talking, it's like, oh, they can just be themselves, and I can be myself too, and that's how we move forward.
What a relief when you can like shed the false pretense and just get to what's what.
Mm,
Like, just get right to
mhm,
the point. And what do you like? What are
yeah.
you thinking about? What are you scared about? Like, whatever. It's like, oh my gosh, you just cut through.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and then I think that comes to just I view everybody as an individual,
Yeah.
um, and everybody is searching for that same thing. It's that acceptance that sometimes you're yearning for a connection, and just general happiness. Like,
Yeah.
everybody wants that.
Yeah, people wanna be seen, and it just sounds like
Yeah.
really like what I'm even hearing today, Seth, of like your origin story. It's like each year you were seen, like you're filling that kind of pot of your life of then connecting with with your biological family, and
Yeah.
it's such a great point, Seth. People just want to be seen, and
Yes.
loneliness can be a real thing for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and that isolation or feeling as
Yeah,
though like I can't connect with anybody on anything.
yeah,
Um, it's sometimes it takes that friend, that Davin, to be like, hey, I see you,
yeah,
and I want to hear more about you. Some people will keep that more guarded. That's okay.
yeah.
That's how they choose to live their life. But I know every single person is an individual that has something of value to share, whether they ever want to say it out loud or not.
And Seth, I'm struck by like I think of like life as a dinner party. Like, why would you not? If I'm having a dinner party, I want a Filipino brother there. I want an African American brother. I want people that think differently,
Mm,
act differently, look
mm,
differently. Like,
yeah,
because oh my God, then there's an amazing story that they're bringing to the table. Like, oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah. And I'm so grateful to live down here in Lancaster too, because it is such a beautiful mix of, you know, diversity is more than just, color of our skin. It's ways of thinking.
yeah,
It's your religion. It's all the, like, we can go as far as like, hey, what's your hair color? Like, that's diverse. Like, what's your glasses color? That's diverse. Um, and there's such a good blend of all types of people here, and I feel at home here in
yeah.
Lancaster.
It is, as I mentioned to Becky a while ago, it's the most unassuming, highly functioning company and people that you've ever seen. Because I've been
Mm.
to your HQ, and it's like, oh, I mean, you're just
Yeah,
driving, you see a lot of
yeah.
Amish, and then you're dropped into Clark, and
Yeah.
it's like,
It,
yeah. Then you go into the restaurant, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like
yeah.
Star Trek crazy stuff that they're doing around the globe.
Yeah, it's super unsuspecting, but like I think anybody that walks in here, you'll like we hire humble, hungry, smart people that use good emotional intelligence. At the end of the day, those four things, you're whether it's uh, the CEO himself or just me sitting here in this chair, we'd like to think that people we hire embody that. So and then that equates to people in the community that are
Yeah,
that way. So to be able to have that on the work front and in the community front, we're
It's
trending up,
amazing.
man.
I by the way, I met Gene at not this past Gene Clark, not this past
Mhm.
NAFM, the NAFM before.
Hmm.
He didn't know me from Adam, but I introduced myself. I'm like, "Would you mind meeting my team?" I met Gene being Gene. He's like, "Yeah, I'd love to." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Do
super
you know
humble
who you
dude.
are, dude?" Like, and like he knows who he is, but like he was so
Yeah,
gracious and kind. He didn't need to be, and it was like, "Oh
yeah,
my gosh, that's
right.
true servant leadership."
Absolutely. And I remember when I made the move from public education to here at Clark, uh, some of my coworkers who were his former teachers, they're like, when you see Gene, tell him that Mr. Wissinger and Mrs. Tuff say hi. So on my first day, me just being this a people person, I don't care. I
Right.
walked over to where my desk was, but his desk was over, or his like office was in the corner. I was like, "Oh, Ryan, like I'll be right back." I knocked on his door. I was like, "Hey, I just want to introduce myself and say hi, Mr. Wissinger and Mrs. Tuff." They all send their love and say hi. He's like, I think he appreciated that. But
Yeah.
my new team was like, "Dude, what the, what did you just do?" Like, he's a person. Like, and yeah, that's just the way that's my outlook on life.
And he's such as you said, he's such an approachable, down to earth human being. Yeah, I guarantee you
Yep.
love that. All right,
I hope so.
um, Seth, I'm gonna just throw a curveball in here. Like we're still doing
Go,
good on time. Are you open to doing our 7 questions right now?
please hit me.
Okay. There will be a prize at the end of this if you get this right. So there's no
Okay.
pressure. I know you're
Okay.
being an achiever. You want to get this right. So if you get all 7 questions right, you're going to win a prize.
Okay.
I'm going to have to read this so I read the questions right. I got the paper right here. All right.
Go.
Question number 1. You're on a desert island. What beer and what album? And it could be a song.
Ooh.
So what beer
Okay.
and one song or album do you have with you on that desert island?
So funny. Me and my brother-in-law and I kind of talked about this, just like the beer on a deserted island. As much as I love everything that Treehouse Brewing Company has to offer, I would have to go with you know, one of their pilsners because if it's going to be hot on a desert, I want it to be light. I'm going to be there
Yeah.
forever. Just let me drink easy. I don't want to be drinking heavy stouts on a hot beach. Uh, love
So
those any time
practical.
of the year. It's so practical, I know. And then for uh, album, I'd probably say John Legend, Get Lifted. My music taste is all over the place, but that one just from start to finish, I'm vibing that whole thing. Oh, yes, so good. Those would be my two.
And everyone, Seth texted me before we got on. He said, I think you were saying you're listening to like funky jazz to Metallica or like metal, and which I love. I'm like, perfect, brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah,
why not?
yeah. I think it just kind of matches my pace. I was listening to some alternative heavy metal, and then I switched it over to R&B, and I was like wanting to slow down. So
Yeah,
I'm I'm here for all of it.
I love it. All right, you're trending well. Question number 2: What the heck is Scrapple?
Oh, it's gross. I'm hoping to offend so many people. Scrapple is gross. It's just the leftovers of a
Okay.
pig that they just literally grind up. And
Mm,
it comes in this like meatloaf looking block. I worked in a small kitchen called Station House, and you chop it up into like thin slices. And people would either want you to fry the heck out of it or deep fry it, or like just do it kind of like gently, like eating raw scrapple. I'm like,
God,
this is how I know I am not very PA Dutch.
that's
My
fair.
last name might be Winder, it might be like part German, but yeah,
But
I draw the
yeah,
line at that.
you don't see it. That's fair. Question number 3: Define success. And it could be a quick hitter. Yeah,
Yeah.
any
Um,
context.
yeah. Success to me is feeling fulfilled, feeling happy. Like I want to go to work every single day. That to me is success. I feel as though if like I wake up and I'm just dreading what I'm doing or the people I'm working with, I feel as though I've made a decision
Yeah.
to stay in that position. So I feel like it's not successful. Um, yeah, I want to be able to do a job and wake up and do life the way I want to.
Yeah, I love that, Seth. Brilliant, brilliant.
Mm,
You're
mm.
trending well. I won't give the final score, but you're
Okay,
doing
good.
pretty well. If somebody's coming to Lancaster, not Lancaster, by the way, it's Lancaster.
That's right.
Somebody's coming to Lancaster, is there something they need to check out? Like maybe someplace you and your family like to go, or like something
Mm,
that you're like, yeah, this is my happy place at home. Or
yeah, I there's a couple contexts that I like. It depends on who's coming, but I think big one for so many people is just Central Market. Central Market is awesome because it is that showcase of cultures coming together, old meets new. You have a horse and buggy parked next to a Tesla, and you can go get a whoopie pie, and then go get an empanada, and then go get whatever else you want. So much different cuisine, so many different people. Central Market is probably that one must do when you come to Lancaster.
I love that. I'm brilliant.
Mm.
3 words that describe you. I know, right? I know. I told you I'm
Dang
throwing you
it.
curveballs, dude.
Dang it.
I know. You're doing great.
Uh, Sweaty. I'm just kidding. I'm fast paced. That's 2 words, but one concept. Um, Hungry, as in like I love to eat. I'm
Yep.
probably gonna go order some sushi to celebrate after this.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say just enthusiastic. You know, uh, even when things are kind of not looking good, I can usually find that optimism and that silver lining in things.
That's amazing, Seth. 2 more questions. You're trending
Okay.
well, just for the record. What attributes, and you touched on it briefly, that you had in elementary school, are you applying to your role now, or are what similarities between second graders and I'm not making fun of Clark Associates, but like Clark, like kind of contextually both of those, like what are you applying to both?
Similarities, yeah. Um, One, I find great people. Uh,
Yep.
the teachers in that I've worked with, whether it's in my immediate building or across just education in general, you have some of the most driven, loving individuals that are surely not there, for the paycheck. They're there because they want to make a difference in the future of our country. And it is, in my opinion, one of the most honorable careers one can have. And even though we're not educating like the future of tomorrow here, I'm still finding great people here. People that are open to radical candor, people who are, accept ownership, people who are just fun to be around. Not everybody's a high eye and talkative like me, but there's still a genuine warmth from every single individual that works here in Clark National Accounts and Clark Associates. So the people, surely one, and then two, um, there's never a shortage of like new challenges in education. It's like, how do we face this family dynamic, and uh, like how do we come up with a solution or some sort of thing that's going to help this child progress forward in this industry? It's like, well, how do we meet this business need? How do we stay ahead in this area? So many things. Challenges are ever evolving, and they're just always coming at us.
It's so amazing, Seth, and again to know your origin story and your awareness through this. So it's just applying that too. It's like being seen and all these
Yeah,
steps you're taking. It's super amazing. Last question. Say something nice about our friend Becky Smith.
that's really hard. I'm just kidding. When you talk about like the person that you admire professionally as a human being, like if there's one person I want to, just do right by, it's her. And it's simply because she pours her all in every single person.
Yeah,
And I want to be able to reciprocate that. I don't ever want to fall short on her requests, uh, because I know that she has high expectations, and I want to be able to meet those expectations. And also, she's a friend. I don't want to disappoint a friend. I don't want to let
yeah.
him down. And so I don't think I gave you one word there, but yeah, just I have the utmost respect for her. as somebody that's been here for over 20 years, knows the industry in and out, and at the same time is just a great freaking person.
Yep.
So, B, I love you.
Yeah. Yep. Many of us do. She's amazing. Well, let me tabulate everything, Seth. This
Oh, come on.
unofficial score. Yep. Up 7 out of 7, brother. You did it.
Let's go. Are you sure
Yeah.
it's not
Six,
six?
7. Have you heard it's 4-1 now? That's the thing
Oh,
now.
we're gonna lose a lot of viewers on this,
No
David.
cap. No cap. I mean, oh
No.
gosh, yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Can I ask you some questions if you have
You're
time?
right there with me. That was my next thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is
let's
there
go.
anything you want
Yeah.
to ask me? But yeah, go for it.
Okay. These are not hard. I mean, here we always do like a quick segue question.
Okay.
But first up, if I love baseball. I
Yep.
love watching live baseball. Go Phils. If you had a walk-up song, what would it be?
Oh yeah. I for me it smells like Teen Spirit.
Okay.
Because I remember where I was. I'm a touch older than you, but I remember, well, a couple things. I remember there are a couple bands in my lifetime that the first time I heard their music, I'm like, oh, Alanis Morissette was one. I'm like, uh-oh,
Okay.
everything is about to change. Everything is about to change. But the first time I ever heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit" in that open riff, like dun dun dun, 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 I was like,
Okay.
okay, hair bands are done. Like it is
Everybody-
done. It is
Yeah.
done. You can hear it, and I just love that. And I'm Gen X, and there's enough of like hope and angst that Gen X people carry that I'm like resonates with me. So it'd be "Smells Like Teen
Mm,
Spirit."
that's a great answer. Great answer. All right. Uh, all right. Next, what is a fashion no-no to you, and why is it a sweatsuit?
Why? Oh boy, I love that. I love that. Well, for me, so I love color. So my fashion
Mhm.
no is don't play it safe.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
like browns and blacks are fine, but like give me color, give me pink, give me bright
Yeah.
reds, give me neons. So I would say a no is playing it safe. I would say wear your personality outward. Um,
Mm.
um, did that answer your question? Was that
Yeah, it did. It sure
okay?
did. Yeah, I remember when I met you at AHF, it was San
Yeah,
Antonio, which,
that's
believe it or
right.
not, was actually only last year, but it feels like we've had
Really?
years of friendship, literally a year ago. So you were wearing your red glasses and red shoes, and it was just like, that's just like an alternative method to engage with people. I didn't know
Yeah.
if it was like a tactic of yours, or if it was just like what I've come to find is like that's just you. Like that's who you
It's
are.
a both. I'm a little weird by choice, and I just like color. And to your point, like I'll find my people quicker if they're like, "Oh gosh, he's wearing red glasses." I'm like, "Well, heck yes, I'm wearing red glasses. Why would I not?"
Why
Like
wouldn't I?
because they're amazing.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is
that's
a
right.
good, and I like. I don't know what my style or my fashion is, but I just like whatever my mood is. I'll
Yeah,
do it.
I love that. You're authentically, genuinely you.
Yeah,
Wouldn't want you in any way else. Uh, one more here.
yeah.
Um, if you decorate this winter season with lights, what lights are you using? Are
Oh.
they white or colored? I like to. This says a lot about a person, and I like to stir the pot.
Yeah. I am getting a flashback to my dad just yelling at me as a kid, putting lights up because, type A perfectionist, and I'm just like slapping him on the tree. Um, I bet anymore, I like the one you can plant on your driveway that just has the moving
There you go.
colors. Yeah,
There you
but
go.
I like color. I would go color, and it doesn't even have to be red and green. It can be everything.
Yeah.
Like the
Man,
bigger, the brighter. Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, you know, we are a special breed here, David, and I think we're the right
Yeah.
breed because colored lights all the way. White lights, they just blend in with the snow. So I'm happy to
Yeah.
hear give me all the heat in the comments, please.
Right, exactly. Right. Like why color inside the lines?
Yeah, right. And I always think about A Christmas Story. We used to have like big, like colored bulbs on the hedges out front, and I don't know, it just feels nostalgic to me. White
Yeah,
just feels too clean. And that's
right.
not what life is. Life isn't clean.
No, no, it's not. It's not. It's many things. So Seth, we
Yep.
got about 5 minutes. I wanted to afford
Mm.
you any shout outs for anybody you want to give right now, like anybody like Howdy Hoes you want to say hello to.
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to, I mean, my Clark National Accounts team, anybody
Yeah,
tuning in here. I'm so grateful to be surrounded with you all. We've come a really long way this year, in terms of changes, teams evolving, team, like all the things that come along with joining two teams together here. Just so proud of where we are in the future that we have ahead together as a company. And then also, I mean, to any of my former educators that were helped shape me in my educational path to get me to where I am here. Big shout out to them, and obviously the family. We spoke a lot about family
yeah.
and how that contributes to me as who I am right here, right now. So just grateful for all the people in my life, and you included here, David. I mean,
Thank you.
this I people don't get the opportunity and the platform to share their story.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving that to me.
You're welcome, Seth. As sharing our private conversation, I'm always going to make room at my table personally for people that may look like me, may think like me, or maybe not. Like there's always space. Like, dude, like I said when we opened up, you were that guy I met. I'm like, oh, who is that human being? I want him to be my friend. I felt like an 8-year-old kid. Like, dude, you want to be my friend? Because I like you. I think you're pretty awesome.
You're verbatim. You said, I think we were at one of the evening events. You're like, dude, I just effing love your energy.
Right,
like,
right.
it's like, does he mean that? Like, I hope he
Yeah,
does. But yeah, I remember that. It'll stick with me forever.
totally, totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Chris Morisawa on my team, he loved your question on walk-up songs. So I think that may be a
Ooh,
theme. I think Vibro
yes.
may be doing that. At our
Ooh,
next meeting, we may do that.
okay. Yes. And if
Um,
it's not Teen Spirit, then I don't
yeah,
know.
I think that tells a lot. Yeah. So we have about 3 minutes. I just want to pause one quick. Again, I
Mhm.
wanted to thank Vibro. Is anytime I post anything, the space and place to serve, like Vibro let me. I came to him a year or so plus ago, and said, "Hey, I want to do this thing." And Vibro said, "Sure, go for it." Like it was amazing. So they afforded me. It's never lost on me that
Mhm.
um, this is not a sales pitch for Vibro, but like they take that stuff and say, "Yeah, go for it. Like create,
Mhm.
be special," and that's super awesome.
Yeah, that's entrepreneurial spirit in action. Like, and I wouldn't say the same here about Clark Associates and Clark
Yeah.
National Accounts. Like, you have an idea, let's explore that.
Yep.
Let's put it in action, fail early, and that's yeah, just keep working at it. We want to innovate, and I think this is just a great, just genuine connection here. Just
For,
two guys
for sure.
chatting.
Totally, dude. And that leads me like I'm officially inviting myself to Lancaster when you'll have me sometime in 26. I know the holidays
Yes.
are coming, but I would love
Yep.
to come out and see you and the team soon.
Would love to see you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull something, and I think this is like, and I may have used it in the past, but it makes me. I'm looking at my board. This is my like dream board. You can't see it, but it's over
Okay.
here. But these are quotes, but like this is what resonated with me about you today, Seth. It's not about the splash, it's about the ripple. Meaning
Hmm.
like the legacy that I've experienced through you is not this just grandiose big entrance. It's this constant showing up and being human and being a father and being a brother. So thank you for sharing that, not only with me, but to others in the world, dude. You absolutely make a difference, dude.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you. And yeah, season of gratitude. And what better time to practice it?
Amen.
Mm.
Amen. So with that, Seth, you are the man. Thank you for coming on today. It was so stinking awesome chatting with
Mm.
you, man. Loved hearing your story, and I know other people will feel the same way, dude.
Yeah, love you, brother. Thank
Love
you.
you too.
Mm.
All right,
Yeah.
I will chat with you soon then. How's that sound?
All right. Sounds great.
All
All
right, see
right.
you, Seth.
Bye,
All right, bye.
everybody.